What's up, Sooner Nation, and welcome to the WhackoPreview Podcast, College Football Playoff Edition, where we're going to break down all things OU football headed into this weekend of first-round matchups. I'm Steve Curtis, the voice behind Wacko Sooners, and we've got plenty to dive into. First and foremost, a preview of the Alabama Crimson Tide coming to Norman tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central Time kickoff. And then, of course, we're going to go through my predictions for the other first-round matchups of the weekend. James Madison at Oregon, Tulane at Ole Miss, and Miami at Texas A&M. We're going to break it all down right here on Wacko Sooners. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell button so you never miss an episode. Plus, you can follow us on all of our socials, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter X, all at Wacko Sooners, for live news updates, game highlights, and, of course, some memes and reels to keep it lighthearted and fun like we like it here in Sooner Nation. Hopefully, we don't need too much uplifting late Friday night and early on Saturday. Please, dear Lord. Now, that being said, here on YouTube, we just hit 200 subscribers, so please, again, hit that subscribe. We would love to have you. If this is your first time here on Wacko Sooners, again, love to have you. Hit that subscribe. Always stay in the Wacko loop. So, game preview. Well, right now, per ESPN, Alabama is a 1.5 favorite. Okay. Interesting. Since Oklahoma last year butchered Alabama at home 24-3 and went to Tuscaloosa this year and beat them 23-21. And the defense and the special teams are elite. The offense leaves a lot to be desired, sure. But I'm hearing all the talking heads saying, oh, the offense is bad, so they can't do it. The offense was bad when they went to Tuscaloosa in week 12, but they didn't turn the ball over. And the defense and the special teams did what you need special teams and defense to do. And they won. Except this time it's at home. Alabama's very, very injured across the board. And Brent Venables has had 3 weeks to prepare. I don't know what the decision makers on that spread are on. I really don't. I think Alabama's offense has had a regression the last several weeks. Because remember, Oklahoma beats them week 12. They play, I think it was Eastern Illinois in week 13. Then they play Auburn in the Iron Bowl and win 27-20. But Auburn was getting after Ty Simpson. Auburn saw Oklahoma's tape and said, okay, this is how you beat Alabama's offense. Now, Auburn fell short because their wide receivers couldn't catch a cold if they were licking doorknobs at a preschool, for crying out loud. But then Georgia shows up the next week in the SEC championship game. They get after Ty Simpson, and they do it effectively, and their offense didn't screw themselves. So, and even then, I don't think the Georgia offense needed to do too much to win that game. But Georgia ended up winning 28-7. Absolute defensive masterclass in how to pressure Ty Simpson and make that Alabama defense get cooked, really. So the thing is, Alabama's offense has thrived off of giving Ty Simpson time to carve up the defense, especially with those in-breaking routes over the middle. And a lot of the defenses have been so afraid of giving those up that they drop too many guys into coverage, and they're not pressuring Ty Simpson. The Alabama offensive line has shown a lot of weakness this season, and it only really started to get pushed on. Like, if you've got a cut somewhere and you're being tortured, they're going to, put their fingers in that thing, and they're just going to jam it up. Well, Oklahoma was the first team to really try to do that and said, screw it. We're going to give you opportunities down there to get your guys, but we're going to bring pressure, and we're going to sometimes make you think that we're bringing pressure to come and kill you. Brent Venables just said, no, we're not going to sit back and let you try to carve us up. We're going to come force you to make some bad decisions. And it paid off, right? The pick six by Eli Bowen, forced by a Kip Lewis blitz, right? Kip was coming right up the gap. No one was touching him, and Ty had to make a bad throw. Eli picked it off, took it back 87 yards. The Taylor Wine strip sack, where he just beat that right tackle, right? And, of course, the fumble by Jaden Hardy on special teams, that wasn't necessarily a Ty Simpson turnover, but still, the defense created the turnovers when they needed it. But ultimately, it's a matter of how quickly do you get after Ty Simpson? How quickly do you make him freak out about what he's seeing? If you're stacking the box with anywhere from 6 to 7 guys, and he's like, okay, or heck, even anywhere from 4 to 7 or 8 guys in the box, if you've got them all on the line of scrimmage, he's not going to know who's doing what. Because with Brent Venables' defense playing at that level, you have no idea what they're going to do. Because doing stuff pre-snap is not going to give you any indication of what you're about to be facing. So, this will be a fun OU defense versus Alabama offense showing, or at least for a defense junkie like me. Now, I've heard a lot lately, Alabama, Ty Simpson, he actually had a pretty good performance against Oklahoma. He had 300-plus passing yards. Sure, he had the interception and the fumble, but, he actually did pretty good. 200 of his passing yards came in the second quarter. He was held to 80 passing yards in the entire second half. He had a good second quarter performance. The other three, kid was getting dominated. So, all love to J.D. Pickell saying Ty Simpson had a good performance. He got killed by halftime adjustments. Halftime adjustments were there, got it locked up. He wasn't able to do anything. And add to it, Oklahoma's defense has blitzed approximately 50% of the time this season, so I think that's a good indication of they're going to get after him. And they're going to try to lock down that passing game even more just by forcing bad throws or sacks, maybe some batted downs, maybe some short INTs there at the line of scrimmage or a fumble. Lord, please. Lord, please. Now, to break down some of these injuries that Alabama's been dealing with, right? So, Jam Miller at running back, he missed the SEC championship. He's expected to play. Ty Simpson is, of course, expected to play, but he has looked hurt the last couple of weeks. Or against Auburn, it looked like he got hit pretty bad. And then versus Georgia, he looked hurt. Josh Cuevas, the tight end, I believe he's questionable. And their offensive line has had some trouble as well. Their center has been in a cast on his foot lately. They've got a freshman in at tackle. So from way up there, way high, I feel ultimately pretty good about the Alabama offense in terms of how it's going to match up against the Oklahoma defense, because after all, they've been regressing, right? Ty Simpson, his season stats overall, sure, he's got 3,600 passing yards, 64% completion, 26 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 4 of which came in his last 4 games. And then rushing, he's got 81 carries for 98 yards, 5 rushing touchdowns. So he's a little sneaky with his feet. He did make Owen Heineke miss him at one point and got a first down, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not terribly worried about his dual threat capability because he is a pocket passer who can move here and there. But then he's also been sacked 31 times this season. And that's, 13 games? So that's like somewhere between 1.5 and 3 sacks, I think. I'm not great with the quick math. But then at running back, they don't have a single back that's gone over 500 yards because Jam Miller, he's got 493 and 3 touchdowns. Kevin Riley's got 222 yards with 2 touchdowns. And then Daniel Hill, that 6'2", 240-pounder, he's got 228 yards and 5 touchdowns. So that's 10 touchdowns from running backs on the season. This is not the Alabama of Nick Saban. This is not the Alabama of my childhood where they're going to run it down your throat and pepper you with some passes here and there. But this is not Nick Saban's juggernaut anymore. No one should fear Alabama more than anyone else, right? As for the receivers, you've got Jeremy Bernard, 762 yards, 7 touchdowns. Ryan Williams, who's kind of been a non-factor in comparison to where he was last year. He's got about 630 yards, 4 touchdowns. Then Brooks and Horton. Brooks has 362 yards, 0 touchdowns. Horton's got 430, but with 8 touchdowns. And then, of course, you've got tight end Josh Cuevas. He's got 340 yards, 4 touchdowns. And he's questionable. I do expect Cuevas to come in, at least for a while, and we'll see what happens. But ultimately, these receivers and the tight ends, they're good. The passing game for Alabama can be good if Ty Simpson, worst case scenario for us Oklahoma fans, but if Ty Simpson's able to slow everything down and somehow understand what Brent Venables is calling on defense before it happens, he's going to have a good day. I think he'll put up plenty of yards. It's just a matter of, is it better or worse than the last time he faced Oklahoma a month ago? Now, as for kind of the more specifically on the run games between these two teams, all right? Alabama's rushing defense is ranked 36th in the nation, allowing 3.8 yards per carry, 125.6 yards per game, 14 touchdowns on the season, all on the ground. Well, Oklahoma's rush defense is 5th, allowing 2.5 yards per carry, 81.4 yards per game, and only 6 rushing touchdowns on the season. This is Oklahoma's bread and butter. Take away the run, force them through the air, make them make mistakes. And then, of course, we've talked about Alabama's rushing offense, which has had some issues. They're ranked 116th, producing 3.6 yards per carry, 116.2 yards per game, and then 20 total touchdowns on the ground, 15 of which are by running backs. So I think that math's right. Yeah, because we went through 10 of them through their top 3 running backs, and then they had a few more by younger guys as well. Then Oklahoma's rushing offense is actually ranked 106th, so 10 spots above Alabama, so it's still not great, but they're averaging 3.7 yards per carry, 123.8 yards per game, and 17 rushing touchdowns on the ground, 8 by running backs. John Mateer's had a lot of them. John Mateer's done a lot on the ground in just short term. I remember those 2 that he had against Michigan. I was there for both of those. Then, of course, the one against Tennessee. The one against Alabama already last time, that 20-yard run where he's just dragging 4 guys in and dancing around. Like, that was great. And I'm not terribly worried about Alabama's rushing attack. And yes, Jam Miller missed the SEC championship game due to his injury. He is listed to come back, or he's not even listed on the availability report, which means he's going to be back. I still don't think he's going to be 100%. And I don't think that Daniel Hill's going to, have flipped a switch and become the next great Alabama running back. Because remember, he had a lot of trouble figuring out where his blocks were going to be, or where he needed to block against Oklahoma last time. For those who are not in the know, the uninitiated, Day Jordan, all right, number 12, OU corner, about 5'11", 180 pounds. He comes in Daniel Hill's face on a blitz, lights him up, and then eats up Ty Simpson and sacks him, for crying out loud. One of my favorite plays from that game was Day Jordan's sack, just going right up through Daniel Hill's face. And then you look at the other running backs on Alabama, right? They've struggled in pass protection, along with the offensive line. So the run game itself is going to have a tough time because the running backs haven't been terribly productive and the offensive line has been regressing. And then the running backs in pass protection aren't going to be doing great either. Versus you look at Oklahoma's running backs, right? Xavier Robinson's knees got banged up against Alabama. But he's going to be coming back. I expect he'll be a lot healthier. Torrey Blaylock, his shoulder's a bit banged up, but I expect he's back as well. They're both not listed on the availability report, so expect them to be up in fine form. Javonte Barnes, his red shirt is secure. He can play in all postseason games and not risk his red shirt because I expect he will transfer for next year, his red shirt senior season. But expect to see him a lot because he's going to want to put more on tape for potential people to take him after the transfer, right? And then might see Taylor Tatum as well if he's figured some stuff out because by all accounts he's healthy. Jaden Ott, God forbid. Lord knows I don't want to see him on the field with all the crap that we've dealt with him this year. But ultimately, if he's healthy and if he can play, just put him in to carry the ball. Don't put him in to pass protect or block for receivers. Just put him in to hand him the ball. So I like OU's rushing attack more in this situation. I think we'll see a pretty decent rotation, honestly. It's not been great. No one's gone over 500 yards in terms of the running backs. John Mateer's had some good performances on the ground. Michigan, I think, was his best one, where he had, I think, around 70 yards on the ground. But ultimately, I like Oklahoma's rushing attack more in this. And I think the offensive line, with the 3 young guys in Fasusi, EPL, and Foje, they've shown a lot of promise, a lot of skill. And that actually, let's actually go into the offensive line here. So first off, starting center Jake Michaela, he missed the LSU game. He had an infection of some sort. He wasn't feeling well. He's listed as questionable on the availability report as of Tuesday. We will find out more probably heading into the game tomorrow morning. But so with him being out against LSU, Fabechi Wewu at right guard moved over to center. Ryan Foje moved over to right guard from right tackle where he'd been playing a lot since the Ole Miss game. And then Derek Simmons stayed in at right tackle for the LSU game. So we might see that kind of a thing going on, but at the same time, Jacob Sexton maybe coming back. Because he got injured in the game versus Illinois State, first game of the season. But he's been in practice, he's been working, and might see him out at right tackle, and then you might see Ryan Fojay there at right guard, and then rotate Sexton and Simmons at right tackle, and then Weiwu or Michaela at center. So Sexton coming back gives you a lot of options, right? Because you'd have, assuming Jake Michaela comes back, if you have Michaela back at center, you have Weiwu at right guard, you have Fojay who can play right guard and right tackle, you have Derek Simmons who can play right tackle, and then you've got Jacob Sexton who can play right tackle. So in that case, you'd have two right guards in that situation, you'd have two right tackles, and you'd be able to rotate pretty nicely. Now, if Michaela doesn't come back, then you're going to have Weiwu at center, Fojay at guard, and then a rotation of Sexton and Simmons at tackle. But anyways, that's a lot of breaking that bit down on just the machinations of who's going to be where, kind of the shuffle game. Left side of the line, I'm not worried. Fasusi at tackle and EPL at guard, great. Those guys are fantastic for their youth, and they're going to do great things here at Oklahoma. Now, one thing that's a little, I don't think it's terribly concerning, but it's something to think about. So Alabama is 76th in sacks and tied for 53rd in tackles for loss on their defensive front. So that's not terrifying. They didn't get the only sacks that they had against John Mateer in the first matchup were coverage sacks. John just took too much time. So given that, and that the O-line is going to be healthier this week, I'm not that worried about that. And then, of course, with the running backs all coming back as well, that's going to be a good test for the O-line. And I think these younger guys, they've learned so much this year. All three of them have. And they've had 3 more weeks to prepare and gel and figure out where everything's going and just get good at what they're good at, or get better at what they're already good at. So I think that the O-line's actually going to perform pretty dang well. It's a far cry from last year, guys. It's a far cry from 2024, massively. So I know there's a lot of complaints about, we need a better O-line. Guys, after 2024, this will do. This will do. It's actually doing really good, and it's going to be even better next year. Absolutely. Because you've also got Deacon Schmidt and Noah Best coming in this 2026 cycle, and then Caden Penny and Cooper Hackett coming in 2027. The O-line's looking up. But we're not here to talk about recruiting. We can talk about that more another day, because right now it's playoff season. So quarterback, John has been up and down since his injury. Looked really good those first 4 games. Texas looked terrible. South Carolina looked better. Ole Miss physically looked better, mentally not. Tennessee looked pretty good. Looked more like him. Alabama, adequate. Mizzou, a little bit more like Ole Miss, but not so much of trying to play the hero. And then LSU looked abysmal again in some moments, but then other moments he just clutched up and made the big moment plays that you needed. The pass to Satania, let me say this. Jackson Arnold, no personal hate here, J.A., but Jackson Arnold would not, if he'd looked for the deep pass to Satania, he wouldn't have had the balls to throw it. Sorry if that offends some people out there. But J.A. did not have the gumption to do that. Mateer saw it and he's like, I can make it. We're going to make it. And he did it, and Satania won the game. Now, Oklahoma was capable of winning 10 games last year, 9 or 10 games. Texas, no. Yeah, Texas was a no-win. But Oklahoma was perfectly capable of winning 9 or 10 games last year if they didn't shoot themselves in the foot so many times. If Jackson Arnold doesn't fumble those 3 times against Missouri, that's probably a win. If they don't fumble against Tennessee, they probably win that. So that's already to 8-4. Right? Ole Miss, they were leading at halftime. If you have a quarterback that makes some better decisions, probably could potentially win that one. So that's 9 right there. So, yeah, quarterback's a far cry in 2025 than it was in 2024. So I get that there's a lot of hate on John right now, but ultimately we need to adopt some perspective here and realize what we had last year and how bad it was and how far we've come with mainly just that one big change on offense. And then, of course, the receivers being healthy this year, thank the Lord. But right now, what we need is pre-injury John. Now, an indication of this, guys, he's practicing without his thumb wrap. Now, granted, he's also tripping on dummies and pocket drills, but I have a good feeling about John practicing without his thumb wrap, all right? Because we need the monster that we had those first 4 games to show up, all right? We need the man that he was always meant to be. We need the man he was those first 4 weeks of the season. All right? I want to see better. I want to see better everything. I need better vision. I need better footwork. I need better follow through. I need better mechanics all the way around. I need him to slow everything down in his head, not get rushed. And if you're working your progressions, if it is not there, do not stare it down and force it. Look elsewhere. And if it's not there, throw it away. And don't immediately get the ball, make one read, and then take off running. Make 3 and then run. And sometimes if you make 3 and nothing's there, don't run, throw it away. Play smart football. A great line in one of my favorite movies, The Last Samurai. It's when like Tom Cruise is doing bad in sword practice or whatever in Japan, and one of the guys comes up to him and says, "Too many mind, okay? Mind the sword, mind the people, watch, mind of your enemy. Too many mind, okay? No mind. Play with no mind, John. Don't think, just do. Be so well prepared and ready to go that you know your reads that you need to go through. 1, 2, 3, it's not there, gone. 1, 2, it's there, take it. 1, it's there, take it. All right? Go through your progressions, play smart offensive football, protect the ball. Do not be Jackson Arnold and sit there and hold on too long and play scared. All right? I'm begging you. I need some consistency here. Go out, make some good 70-plus yard drives with that consistency, that accuracy, and patience. All right? Plant your feet. Stop dancing around like you're at a dance hall. Okay? This isn't line dancing, dude. Just set your feet and throw. As for who he's throwing to, Isaiah Satania, Deion Burks, and Jaron Kanik, feed those 3. Feed them. Because Isaiah Satania, he's the number 1 wide receiver in SEC conference play. First in yards, I believe first in touchdowns. Second team All-SEC. Come on. Feed that dude. Feed the track star. Give him a chance to run. Then Deion Burks. That play against LSU, my goodness. Deion, I love you. That was the Deion that I thought we were signing up to get. And I think that is the Deion we get. He just hasn't had the opportunities because Mateer's been playing a little inconsistent. And then Jaron Kanik, for crying out loud, get the burger back his touchdown. Give it to him. Please. Please. Yeah, I need a Jaron Kanik touchdown. That's what I want for Christmas. Because those 3 are your best pass catchers. All right? They're dynamic. They're capable of making plays when they get out in space. And they're going to make stuff happen for you. Because remember, that last drive against LSU, it was Jaron Kanik, Isaiah Satania. The big touchdown by Deion Burks. Those are your 3 best receivers. Use them. Live off their backs. And then sprinkle in Giovanni Gibson and Jermichael Carter. Because those are your bigger-bodied dudes. They're going to get downfield. Like, plenty of big plays over the middle against LSU. To Giovanni Gibson. Plenty of them. There were some to Isaiah Satania too. Okay? Use those bigger-bodied guys. Those are who you want for those deeper 50-50 balls. Scheme them open where they have a chance where it's a one-on-one and get it to them. All right? And granted, because Satania has been numero uno, right? Alabama DBs are going to be watching him like a hawk or hawks every snap, which means someone else, somewhere else, is going to be open. All right? Anybody. Anyone. Honestly, give me some Elijah Thomas. Give me some of that true freshman action. Okay? I want to see that. Now, Alabama's passing D is 6th in passing yards allowed. So that's a little concerning. But Oklahoma did a decent job against them last time. And I think if the run game gets going, that's going to open a lot of stuff in the play action. So I think if the run game gets started early, there's a shot. So my open letter to Ben Arbuckle is commit Xavier Robinson and Torrey Blaylock and Javonte Barnes to a run game early. Get all 3 of them firing. Get them all hot. Force Alabama to stay low to the box. Force them to stay up to the line. And that's when you're going to open stuff in the pass game and then be dynamic. And yeah, if there was ever a time that the run game needed to really come out, it's now. We need performances like they had against Ole Miss and Tennessee and South Carolina. We need those 3 performances on the ground back. We need it back badly. So Auerbach will commit to the run, then give John the schemes to get guys open. And John, go hit them, man. Got to go hit them. Make good decisions. As for Oklahoma's defense, the news we've all been waiting a month for. R. Mason Thomas is back. He's been practicing in full pads. He's not on the availability report as questionable, probable, or out, or anything else. The closer is ready. The closer will fight. And I know that Ty Simpson peed his pants when he saw that R. Mason Thomas is coming back. Because remember, Ty Simpson has not played against R. Mason Thomas. Well, I think he had a couple snaps in 2024 when Jalen Milroe went out for a little bit when he got hit pretty hard. But R. Mason Thomas is going to come out swinging. Now, ultimately, what does this mean? How much of a difference will this make for Oklahoma's defense as a whole? Ultimately, not a massive difference. Because even without R. Mason, since his injury in the Tennessee game, the defense hasn't missed a beat. They've not missed a beat at all. You've hardly noticed that R. Mason Thomas is missing. And in spite of missing 3.5 games, he still made first team SEC. Dude is him. So I think this is going to be a little reminiscent of the Auburn game where he came out in the second half and just lit Jackson Arnold up those first 2 plays of the second half. I think R. Mason Thomas is going to come out swinging and say, I'm going to get you. I'm coming to kill you. Yeah, he's undersized, but that first step off the line, holy cow, that dude is quick, and then his bend is insane. He's just a monster on the edge. He's going to get after Ty Simpson. And then you've got Taylor Wine on the other side of him. You'll have PJ Adebaware. You'll have Marvin Jones Jr. You'll have Danny Okoye, who's seeing a lot more. They're going to come after Ty Simpson. All right? That edge room is licking their chops. They're like, we're ready to go, guys. We're going to go kick some butt. And then the rest of the front 7, right? Defensive line is amazing. Jaden Jackson's been a little bit banged up, but I think he's ready. He'll be fine. He'll probably need surgery postseason or after the postseason. But this front 7, and then the linebackers, dude. You got Kip, you got Kobe, you got Sammy, you got Owen. Those 4 are monsters. And then a little bit of Taylor Heim action too. Dude's coming along nicely. This front 7 is getting ready to have a day. And a lot of talk about Oklahoma secondary this season about, they give up big pass plays. They give up a lot of yards. And that was an area of concern in the preseason. There was a lot of talk about why they didn't go get another veteran corner out of the portal. And with Gentry Williams out with his shoulder injury, it's like, man, it's a lot of young guys in the secondary, or at least in the corner room. But you've got Eli Bowen and Cortland Guillory. Cortland Guillory is not a true freshman anymore. He's had 12 games, had some early season mistakes, but he's gotten better every single time. I want a Cortland Guillory pick 6 in this game. That would make my year. That would make me so happy to see that kid finally get a turnover. And then you've got Eli Bowen on the other side, right? But then that's not it. You've got Day Jordan there at corner. All right? The cornerback is set. And then add to it, you've got the safeties back there too. Because not only do you have Peyton Bowen, who's just been balling, and Robert Spears-Jennings, the most veteran guy in that back 7, right? But then you've also got Michael Boganowski. You got Reggie Powers. You got Jaden Hardy. All right? This secondary is fantastic. Do they give up stuff sometimes in coverage? Sure. But they're gonna have fun. They're gonna have fun. They're gonna play mean like they always do. I want Reggie to get a couple of hits in that could be called for targeting, because he's had a couple of those. Because he had the big hit against South Carolina against Sellers' brother, the wide receiver there at South Carolina. Then he did end up getting called for targeting against Missouri and missed the first half of the LSU game. So I want Reggie to come in and hit somebody. I want Jaden to get another good peanut punch, and I want Boganowski to be headhunting. All right? Those 3 young guys are fantastic. They're going to be great as their time at Oklahoma progresses. Yeah, I'm excited about the secondary because Jay Valai and Brandon Hall have done such a good job back there because the secondary has been lacking as the defensive front has been what the staff is focused on building up first. But this secondary has been doing so good, and when everyone thought they weren't going to be what we need them to be, they've been that. They've been that. They've done a fantastic job. And I think they're going to have a good time. I think they're up to the task to handle Bernard, Williams, Brooks, and Horton, and then some Cuevas. I think they're going to do a good job. And what's most exciting here, again, kind of to wrap this all up, is that Alabama's had so much trouble running the ball. Even with Jam Miller, I don't think they're going to be running like crazy, which means that this secondary is going to have more opportunities to get after these receivers and make plays and go get turnovers. I really think that there's a great opportunity here for this defense to do what it does. So for Brent, same kind of game plan against Alabama as you had last time. Now, I'm not saying you need to copy Georgia, because I honestly think you are a better DC than Kirby Smart. You're more creative. But look at some of the Georgia stuff. It couldn't hurt. So get after Simpson. Confuse him. Do all that crazy pre-snap stuff. Get those turnovers. Because right now, looking at the two previous matchups between Oklahoma and Alabama in the last two seasons, OU is 1-6 in the turnover margin. They've given the ball away once. Taylor Tatum fumbled. But then they have 6 turnovers. 3 interceptions in 2024, then 2 fumbles and an interception in 2025. So the key here is to take the ball away. And OU's defense is first in sacks, with about averaging 3.4 per game, 255 yards off of those. And then first in tackles for loss at 115, so that's 9.6 per game and 455 yards off of those TFLs. So I like getting after the quarterback and the running backs. I like it. Now, another fun thing here that I actually just learned about today here on Thursday is actually I think it was the Choctaw curse of some sort, or the Tuscaloosa curse. Let's double check this. Because I saw this very recently. It had something to do with the Trail of Tears and when Andrew Jackson or Van Buren, whichever one we want to blame for the Trail of Tears, were moving the Choctaw out of Alabama. And they were living in and around Tuscaloosa at the time, I believe in the 1830s, that a chief at the time, when they were being exiled, called up a medicine man or brought up a medicine man and cursed the region, saying, oh, whoever inhabits this land from here on out is forever cursed by the Choctaw, blah, 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 blah. And I say that not dismissive, but I don't remember all the jargon. Or not even the jargon. I don't remember the specifics of the curse. But ultimately, the gist that I've taken away from this, and someone pointed this out to me, was that it's been 190 some odd years since the curse was placed. And in that time, Oklahoma is 5-2-1 against Alabama in their 8 matchups. And in the 4 matchups that have been in Norman or in Tuscaloosa, Oklahoma's won all of those. So when let's pretend here for a second that the Sooners are the Choctaw in this scenario. They go to Tuscaloosa and they beat down their oppressors in Tuscaloosa. But then the oppressors come to Oklahoma and the Choctaw still beat them there. That's something new I hadn't heard. And I kind of like that story, honestly. I like the juju that comes with that. If you're one to believe in the juju, I went to high school in Tampa, Florida, and something I learned about recently with all the hurricanes was that, like in the last century, the hurricanes that hit Tampa Bay, they all look like they were about to go right up the mouth of the bay and just obliterate the city. But at the last minute, they all turn and just go around it. And weirdly enough, there's an old Native American burial ground. I forget which nation, but somewhere around the northern outskirts of Tampa, there's an old Native American burial ground, so there's something about the burial ground juju magic or something. Or at least that's what I've been told. And of course, when I say juju, that's not, belittling or anything of the Native American stories and tales of that or the culture. It's just, the word juju. So that could be interesting. If there's any truth to the Choctaw curse on Alabama and Tuscaloosa, I like that. I'll take it. Now we'll diverge out of the supernatural here a little bit. 3 keys to victory for OU, right? Going to be the same ones as they've been for the last several games. Get after the quarterback, make him uncomfortable, force turnovers. That's on the defense. Then 2, on the offense, I want ball security. John, I don't want no 3 interceptions. I don't want no fumbles. Keep the ball. Do not give it over to him. Then offensive consistency, number 3. I want long drives finished by touchdowns. I want consistent run attention. I want consistent pass attention. All right? I need both of those components in the offense. Do away with RPOs. Get rid of them, 100%. So that's going to do it for the game preview. We can move on to my first round picks, which this is actually going to be pretty quick because we're not going to talk too much about the first 2. So number 12, James Madison, sitting at 12-1, going to number 5, Oregon, sitting at 11-1. Oregon's a 21-point favorite per ESPN. Not going to spend tons of time on this. Oregon's going to win it. My pick is 41-10. I would not be shocked if it's 41-3 or 0. But who knows? All right, it's college football. Anything can happen. Next, number 11, Tulane at 11-2, going to number 6, Ole Miss, sitting at 11-1. Lane Kiffinless Ole Miss, mind you. I still think the offense is going to be pretty solid. It wouldn't surprise me to see Trinidad Chambliss calling the plays, honestly. If they don't have an actual OC, and that's what I'd love to see in Tampa Bay with the Bucks and Baker Mayfield. Get rid of Josh Grizzard and give it over to Baker and just say, Baker, you're the offensive coordinator. You call the plays. I would not be surprised if we see a lot of that at Ole Miss. Now, Ole Miss is a 17.5 favorite in this game. Again, not going to spend tons of time on this because we've already seen this matchup, 45-10. Now, I do think that Ole Miss might take a bit of a step back in terms of missing Lane Kiffin's genius. But I do still have Ole Miss winning. I've got Ole Miss 38-10. All right, next, Miami, number 10. They're sitting at 10-2. They're going to number 7, Texas A&M at 11-1. A&M's a favorite by 3.5. I honestly think that's a little crazy. I think A&M at home. Kyle Field's going to be electric. I think it's going to be a fun game. I think they're going to be fairly evenly matched. Fairly evenly matched? Just evenly matched. Quite redundant, I am. If Carson Beck plays like he did in the earlier parts of the year, where he's decisive, good ball security, and gives Miami's receivers decent shots to make plays, and Miami's defense is actually pretty solid, I think that this is going to be a pretty dang good game. I am still, however, an A&M believer here. I think the Texas loss at the end of the year, it was a rivalry game, made some critical mistakes against a good defense and an okay offense. But I think that this could be their Ohio State loss to Michigan in 2024. It could be. Do I think that they're going to win the national championship? Probably not. But I think that they could go and do some stuff here and that they're going to be prepared. And I do have A&M picking. I am going to pick A&M to win this one. I've got it a close one, 31-27. I think the home crowd, the do-or-die attitude that they've had and how they've won games all year, just in different ways each time, I think they're really dynamic and they've got a good shot for this one. So again, A&M, 31-27. Now, the one that y'all all really care about, the one that I really care about, number 9, Alabama at 10-3, coming to Oklahoma, number 8, sitting at 10-2. Alabama's a 1.5 favorite. I think that's a bunch of crap there. That spread's a bunch of crap. I think Oklahoma should be overtly favored here, but I don't make the decisions. Third meeting in the last 13 months, second time on Oklahoma soil, 7 p.m. Central kick at Oklahoma Memorial Stadium, Owen Field. I've got Oklahoma, 20-17. I think it's going to be another close one. I think the offense is going to have some stuff going. I think that we're going to have a turnover or 2 from the defense. But ultimately, it's just, can the offense not shoot itself in the foot here? Because again, like we've been saying all year, if the offense can find B-plus football, this team can go beat anybody. And honestly, the playoff picture after this, right? If you beat Alabama, I think there's a decent shot that Oklahoma can go beat Indiana in the Rose Bowl. Because you look at the Big Ten Championship, 13-10, that's the kind of game that Oklahoma would thrive in. Defensive dominance and offense doing what you need it to do, and special teams coming up where you need it Oklahoma could absolutely compete in a game like that. Note how I said game like that, not necessarily with opponents like that. It's all dependent on if the offense can actually get stuff going. But then if you beat Alabama, and you could go beat Indiana, I think there's a possibility. You then have Oregon, who hasn't really wowed anyone. And then, or Texas Tech, which I think Oklahoma would absolutely beat Texas Tech because I don't think their offense is that good. I think their defense is good by Big 12 standards, but they're not going to be able to measure up to SEC trenches. And that right there is Oklahoma's path to the national championship appearance. So a path is there that I think is entirely possible and definitely doable. But again, it all depends on the offense. Are you consistent? Can you do stuff that you need to do on a consistent basis? So that being said, I'll just say it again. I've got Oklahoma beating Alabama 20-17 in a close one. I'm going with my family. Looking forward to it. I'm super excited. Oklahoma's not been in the playoffs since 2019. And after the entire world, after the over-under win total for Oklahoma this year was 6.5, 7.5, to come out and win 10 games, have a spot in the college football playoff, dude. No matter how this game ends tomorrow night, 2025 has been a screaming success of a season that I think not a single Oklahoma fan should be angry if we lose this game. Well, we can be upset, we can be sad, but we shouldn't be angry and start saying, oh, this season was a failure. After how bad last year was and where everyone thought Oklahoma was going into the 2025 season, they've delivered in spades. They've absolutely delivered. They've showed the world who they are and that they are, in fact, hard to kill. I have my hard to kill hoodie. I'm going to be wearing it in the stadium, all right? My mother wanted one, so I got her one. She's going to be wearing it, all right? We are ready to go. Oklahoma's shown the world what they're capable of. Or no, not even all of what they're capable of. There's still more out there for Oklahoma to prove. And I think they can, and I think they will go do it 20-17. Well, guys, that is going to wrap it. Show out in droves tomorrow night. Be loud, be ready, be angry. This is our time. It is all out there. It is time for the boys to go and take it because it's all on the table. It is doable. Absolutely is doable. And with this coaching staff leading the charge for them and helping them and teaching them and leading them as men, I think that this team is capable of anything. You got Josh Pate saying that Sooner Magic, that he's afraid to bet against Sooner Magic. Listen to him. Sooner Magic is real, and I think we're going to get a good look at it tomorrow night in Norman. Well, Sooner Nation, that's going to wrap it for this edition of the WhackoPreview Podcast, College Football Playoff Edition, where we break down all things OU football headed into the weekend of college football playoff matchups ahead. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell button so you never miss an episode. We just hit 200 subscribers. If this is your first time joining us on Wacko Sooners, we would love to have you. Also, go follow us on all of our social medias, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter X, all at Wacko Sooners for live news updates, game highlights, and of course, memes to keep it lighthearted and fun. Hopefully, we don't need to be lighthearted or need uplifting after the game on Friday night and then into next week. Please, dear Lord, help us get the W. But anyways, go hit those follows so you're always in the Wacko loop. Have a great college football playoff experience, y'all. We will see you on Monday for the Wacko Review. Boomer Sooner.